action genre is one that has always been in constant motion, the films and heroes gradually shifting to reflect the ideals and culture of America. The genre really started with swashbucklers, featuring flashy sword fighting and aerial acrobatics from charismatic actors like Errol Flynn and Douglas Fairbanks. Then progressed into westerns and war films with their shootouts and horseback riding, and ultra-masculine stars like John Wayne. The 60s brought us gadget-heavy spy films centered around suave ladiesmen like James Bond. And then in the 70s, action films got gritty and tough as they introduced us to Clint Eastwood and the anti-hero.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
By the 80s, studios were dumping huge amounts of money into action films. The films became bigger, bolder, and more violent, with godlike heroes with superhuman physiques. The budgets exploded, and so did everything in the hero's path, as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone lumbered across the screens as an army of one. It seemed like action movies and their stars would keep getting bigger and more outrageous, until they didn't.
Please don't let me die.
The trends changed in 1988 with Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan and starring Bruce Willis, who was at the time best known for his role in the TV dramedy Moonlighting. Willis's John McClane was a hero that didn't feel invincible, one that bled when he got hurt, couldn't survive on brute strength alone, and ultimately more relatable to audiences.
Happy trails, Hans.
Die Hard was a huge success, spawning numerous sequels, knockoffs, and like-minded films, like the Jean-Claude Van Damme film Sudden Death. Basically, Die Hard in a hockey arena. Not all of these films were as successful as Die Hard. You see, action films require a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. When the films are weighed down by poor scripts, bad acting, dull or derivative action, and messy direction, they can fall flat on audiences.
Who are you? Are you like some special forces guy or something?
I'm just a cook.
A cook?
But when all those factors click into place, when everything works, you get a film that hits audiences like a bus.
Watch it!
You get a movie like Speed. Speed was released in 1994, becoming a surprise hit and one of the biggest films of the year. It made Keanu Reeves a bona fide action star and garnered heaps of praise for both Sandra Bullock and Dennis Hopper.
I don't suppose anybody will give me $3 million just for you.
Not only did Speed work in a contemporary sense by piggybacking off of Die Hard, it also worked as a throwback to action and disaster films of the 70s, but was fresh and innovative enough to set the table for numerous films and franchises that would come in the decades that follow. The plot is simple.
Pop quiz, hotshot. There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. If it drops below 50, it blows up. What do you do? What do you do?
And while its plot is ridiculous, as are some of the stunts and logic behind the film, because Speed is expertly crafted and executed, none of that really matters. Speed moves so quick, building tension and then meticulously releasing it. The audience doesn't have time to think about whether or not a bus can actually span a 50-foot gap in an elevated highway. You're just along for the ride. Speed features a screenplay by Graham Yost, who would later go on to create the acclaimed show Justified. Yost's script is tight and economical. It doesn't waste any time getting going, and once it does, it doesn't slow down. The film opens with a tense elevator rescue that would probably act as the climax in most films. The elevator rescue perfectly sets the tone for the film and introduces us to our hero and villain.
Was it good for you?
Oh, it was great for me. What was it for you, honey?
Elevator dropped. Oh, good. That's good to know.
The film then seamlessly transitions into the main action on the bus, and then in a final twist ends with a showdown on a runaway subway. He's not credited, but a young Joss Whedon helped on the script as well, rewriting a lot of the dialogue, which just so happens to be a highlight of the film.
Are they going to help us?
Sure they are. They're the police. Hey, your taxes are paying their salary. We died, they got to take a pay cut. I mean, you know.
Speed isn't peppered with one-liners all throughout, like many of its predecessors, but it does feature a ton of memorable lines and witty back and forth between characters. Each character has a unique voice and poppy dialogue to match, and the excellent cast delivers the lines with ease.
What does that have to do with us?
Nothing. It's a game. If he gets the money, he wins. If the bus blows up, he wins.
What if you win?
Then tomorrow we'll play another one.
But I'm not available to drive tomorrow. Busy.
Speed stars Keanu Reeves as the young police officer Jack Traven. At the time of Speed's release, Keanu Reeves was not thought of as an action star like he is today. His only other action film at the time was 1991's Point Break, a film that played into the surfer dude persona he had already created with his character Theodore Logan III from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent!
But whenever director Jan de Bont saw Point Break, he knew he had found his hero. He felt Keanu would make an interesting hero, with an added vulnerability due to his lack of bulky muscle. And Keanu delivered. Jack isn't a flippant killing machine like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. Jack is cocky around his colleagues and friends, but when he gets on the bus, he is a consummate professional. He acts as a calming presence to the distraught passengers, as he assures them he will get them to safety.
Okay! We got a wad! Pretty big!
There's a pretty big wad.
Brass fittings!
Brass fittings.
I think I can reach the circuit wire.
He can reach the circuit wire.
No, don't. That's a decoy. Classic.
That's your classic decoy.
What else?
What else?
Hold on!
Hold on.
Fuck me!
Oh, darn.
Keanu maybe isn't as charismatic as other action stars, but his sincerity helps set Jack apart. There's a point in the film when Dennis Hopper's villain gets the best of Jack, and Jack loses his cool. Keanu conveys Jack's pain and frustration in this moment perfectly. Then Sandra Bullock's Annie switches roles with Jack in this instance, and becomes a calming, reassuring presence to Jack instead, showing that our hero is vulnerable.
We're really scared and we need you right now, alright? I can't do this by myself, please. Jack, please.
Speed introduced audiences to Sandra Bullock, and she shines as the passenger Annie, who has to take over driving the bus after the bus driver is shot and injured. Sandra proves she is adept at both comedy and drama, as she utilizes her charm and wit to elevate Annie past the simple, pretty romantic interest. As ridiculous as everything is, you believe Annie can do the things she is doing. You feel her fears and anxiety, and you root for her. This is only possible because of Sandra Bullock's convincing performance.
And wait a minute, wait, an escort to where? Where do we get an escort to?
Look out!
Oh, God!
Keanu and Sandra play really well off of each other too. Their chemistry is clearly evident and makes their flirting feel realistic and unforced. The key to any great action film is a formidable villain, and Dennis Hopper gives us one with ex-cop turned terrorist Howard Payne. Hopper is unhinged in this role, taking a sort of character he has explored before, but turning it up a few notches. He has a commanding presence and draws your attention every time he is on screen.
Pop quiz, hotshot. Terrorist holding a police hostage, got enough dynamite strapped to his chest to blow a building in half. Now what do?
Hopper's character isn't a physically threatening force, but his manic performance gives Howard a frightening unpredictability that makes him truly terrifying. Howard Payne's averageness makes the threat seem more realistic to audiences. Having a villain that represents a domestic terror rather than a foreign one was not something other action films were really doing at the time. All of this makes Howard Payne one of the great underrated movie villains. Speed also features some great supporting characters. Jeff Daniels really stands out as Jack's mentor, Harry Temple. There's also some nice moments for a lot of the passengers on the bus. The supporting actors on the bus sell the anxiety and the fear of the situation, and make you care about the outcome.
I can't be here. I can't, this is the wrong bus.
Speed wouldn't have worked the way it did without the vision of first-time director Jan de Bont. The Dutch-born filmmaker had worked as a cinematographer on several films throughout the 80s, including Die Hard, and he used these experiences to create a film brimming with striking visuals and memorable moments. The first-time director proves he knows how to amp up action scenes with simple choices of camera position and angling. His use of multiple cameras to cover large action scenes allows him to cut to different angles to heighten suspense, elongate time, or to make an explosion seem bigger and more impressive. De Bont surrounded himself with a talented technical team, making certain every aspect of the film was top-notch. De Bont and his DP, Andrei Bartkowiak, crafted a distinct look for Speed by utilizing impressive aerial photography for establishing shots and a warm color palette that helps to reinforce the LA setting. You can see a pretty direct line from Speed's visual style to that of future director Michael Bay in some of his earlier blockbuster films. Speed also influenced franchises like The Fast and Furious with its stunts and the way its high-speed driving scenes are shot and edited. John Wright's editing expertly heightens the tension during Speed's numerous action sequences. The editing is fluid and engaging. This sucks you into the film's action, so you don't notice the cuts, and the events seem to unfold naturally. Wright's editing would be nominated for an Academy Award, along with Speed's sound team. The stunt work and special effects in Speed are also noteworthy. Speed uses minimal CGI and relied mainly on practical effects. That means the explosions are real, and you can feel the heat coming from the massive fires. The stunts are intricate and well choreographed and anxiety-inducing. Speed features a tense and heart-thumping score from composer Mark Mancina. Mancina was a colleague of Hans Zimmer, and you can certainly hear the similarities in their compositions. His integration of electronic sounds paired with traditional orchestral arrangements is now the prototype for Hollywood action film scores. Looking back, Speed probably shouldn't have worked. It was a movie with a ridiculous plot made by a first-time director. On the surface, it appeared to be just another Die Hard knockoff, without any bona fide action stars to anchor it. So, why did it work? It starts with writers Graham Yost and Joss Whedon's script. They developed a fast-paced story peppered with poppy dialogue and memorable scenes. Also, first-time director Jan de Bont. He proved that he was more than capable of composing and directing these scenes, using his experience as a cinematographer to create compelling visuals, stunts, and explosions. The film moves with breakneck speed and does not let up as it meticulously moves back and forth between building tension, releasing it, and then starting all over again. What really makes Speed work, though, is its stellar cast. Keanu Reeves showed he was a bankable action star the audiences would run to theaters to see, and Sandra Bullock charmed audiences with her vulnerable yet funny performance as Annie. Their characters are so likable and realistic that audiences can't help but buy into their story. Speed also features an explosive performance from Dennis Hopper as the film's diabolical villain, Howard Payne. Hopper channels his manic energy into a character that is unpredictable, frightening, and ultimately memorable. From its visuals to its editing and score, Speed's influence can be seen in franchises like The Fast and Furious, and even some of Michael Bay's earlier films, like 1995's Bad Boys. Christopher Nolan has even said its ticking clock, nail-biting pace influenced Dunkirk, and Quentin Tarantino named it as one of his favorite films of the last 30 years. This is how Speed shows that great storytelling, acting, and filmmaking can transform the simplest of concepts and turn it into an action blockbuster that captures audiences' attention and takes them on a thrilling ride.